So here's a little bit more about me. I'm not going to read through it all. I think Carl probably hit the best and most important parts. I'm a huge LinkedIn enthusiast. I love writing. I blog constantly on LinkedIn, and I'm rather connected. So I would be more than happy to connect with any of you who want to connect with me after this presentation. A couple things that we're going to talk about today. And, you know, some of this will be just review for you, and some of it will be new. So take what you need and leave the rest. We're going to talk about customizing your URLs to drive more traffic to your websites, how to find exactly the right prospect or contact, and then have LinkedIn continue to send you leads. How to use people you know, like, and trust to introduce you to their prospects or to your prospects for better connecting. How to communicate with LinkedIn members not currently in your network without having to pay LinkedIn that lovely $10 in InMail. How to stay top of mind with your audience and prospects in just a couple minutes a day. I think that might be my favorite tool. And how to monitor and engage with your potential clients. And then I just wanted to cover a little bit on the company page. Most of it is pretty self-explanatory, you know, when you create a company page on LinkedIn. However, there are some really cool targeting tools that are not obvious. So I want to share those with you as well. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about customizing your links. And there are a couple different links that you can customize. There's your website links, and then there's your public profile URL. And believe it or not, you can even add links to your summary section, and I'll tell you why you want to do that. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about your public profile URL. That's that section right underneath your name, or that's that feature right underneath that kind of snapshot area that's got your picture, it's got your professional headline, it has, you know, where you've worked, and then there's a link that says www.linkedin.com/pub/first name dash last name number letter number letter number letter. And that is a little bit difficult to remember. So what you want to do is click on the edit sign just to the right of that URL where the giant arrow is pointing. And once you click on that, it will actually bring you to a new page on LinkedIn, and you're going to want to click on the Set Custom URL button, the little blue button that says Set Custom URL. And then you can type in your name, your first name, your last name, your first name, your middle initial last name, your company name, any variation thereof. Just know that these are unique URLs, so you can't share it with anybody else. You're only allowed one. But unlike Facebook, you know, with the Facebook URL, you create it once, and if you spelled your name wrong, tough bunnies, you can change this one as much as you want. Now, I don't recommend changing it a lot because hopefully you will now take this URL, put it in your email signature, put it on your business cards, put it on your website somewhere. But someone can have the best profile in the world, and if I look down and see that this URL has not been customized yet, I'm like, LinkedIn newbie. So don't let people think you're a LinkedIn newbie. Go ahead and customize your LinkedIn URL. The public profile URL, again, that's just to the right of the link. If you click on the link itself, it'll literally take you to the URL that you would go to, or to the web page that you would go to, say from Google. And speaking of Google, Google loves this field. So if you Google LinkedIn expert, I show up first, not because I have the best website, not because I paid, you know, someone tens of thousands of dollars to optimize my website. It's because of this right here. So I definitely recommend, if you've not yet done so, put something in that public profile URL, customize it, and then begin to share it. The other things that you can customize are your actual websites on LinkedIn. Caveat here, if you use an older version of Internet Explorer, it does not like LinkedIn. And so, anytime a client of mine has a hard time pulling up and customizing their websites on LinkedIn, it's usually because they're on an older version of Internet Explorer, but really you shouldn't be using Internet Explorer anyway. You should be using Safari or Chrome or Mozilla, in my humble opinion. So how you get to this is there's a little tiny link that says contact info. Again, it's kind of under that snapshot, that first snapshot area. And you have to click on it. It looks like a little Rolodex. And kind of funny, someone on Twitter the other day said, does Gen X or does Gen Y and Gen Z even know what a Rolodex is? Do they even know to click on that? So thank goodness that LinkedIn says contact info on there. You're going to click on that. That's going to expand that particular section. And then you'll see your websites. Now, by the way, you have to be in edit in order to do this. I know that sounds like a no-brainer, but I can't tell you how many times I've been demonstrating and forgot to go and edit myself. So just make sure you're in edit. The way you know you're in edit is that little blue pen will show up. So you click on that little blue pen to the left of websites, or if you haven't added a website yet to LinkedIn, it'll say something like add a website. Click on that link. Either one will take you to this new screen, and what you want is other. So it's going to say personal website, company website, blog, RSS feed, my portfolio. Ignore all that. Drop down to the bottom of that drop-down screen and click on Other. That's going to open up a middle field for you, and it's within that middle field that you can put a call to action. You can put your website name in there. You can describe what your website is. So my website is linkedintobusiness.com, and actually my blog is linkedintobusiness.com/my-blog. A little bit of a pain to write out. Or I can just say, LinkedIn for business professionals. Great. That's pretty obvious what it is. Click on that. You go right to my blog. Have a listly list of social media resources, not even my website, but it's a great list. So boom, list of social resources. And then there's an About Me section, so if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, all my websites, blah, 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 you can click on the Click Here to Connect button. So all three of those customized with calls to action or descriptions of my website. Again, you just want to make sure you are in edit mode, click on information, contact information, and then you want other. Other is the magic word right there. And then what the links do is they come up as calls to action, as descriptions of your website, as opposed to just my website, because, who's going to click on that? All right, next, let's talk about advanced and saved searches on LinkedIn. Now here, by the way, is the new user interface. Ta-da! It looks very similar, and actually when you get into the body of LinkedIn, the pages are all the same. However, if you can see up here on this menu bar, they've moved the search bar pretty much to the middle of the menu bar. The home page is still there. Profile is still there. They've collapsed groups and contacts into network. They've collapsed companies and jobs into career. They got rid of the More tab, which I'm devastated about because I loved. I didn't love endorsed skills. I still don't. But I did love the skills and expertise page. That was really cool. Your inbox is now just a little gray. And as I just said, profile's still the same, although you don't have all the drop-down options. Network is your contacts in your groups combined into one. Career is your jobs, is your group. Bleh. Career is your companies and jobs combined into one. Your inbox is now the envelope. Notifications is the same. They have a whole new section for settings. All of that aside, whether you have the old user interface or the new user interface, when you are doing a search on LinkedIn, don't just use the search box. Use the advanced button. If that advanced button is not popping up on the right-hand side of your search box, just make sure you're either on the home page or the profile page or the network page. So any of those three, or contacts in the old world, will get you this advanced button. And the reason you want that advanced button is because you get much, much better searches. So the secret to the LinkedIn search is called a Boolean string or Boolean logic. And it's using and, or, not, and the plus sign. This is really, really important. Otherwise, you're going to get, results that are okay, but they're not the exact results you want. And because you get limited results that you can actually see with the free account and even with the paid account, you want to make it as accurate as possible. So you can see a string of Boolean logic here. I want a good prospect for me is a CEO, but maybe someone calls himself a chief executive officer, so I need to type that out. And I want to have the little plus signs between the words because I want to make sure that I'm holding those words together. Otherwise, I'm getting a lot of chiefs, a lot of executives, and a lot of officers, and that's not very accurate. So I want little plus signs to hold those words together. Or I'm looking for an owner of a business, or I'm looking for a founder of the business. Now, I'm looking for these executives or these owners or these CEOs in the legal field. So I want to specifically search on my niche, which is the legal field. So I'm going to put legal or law because, maybe they'll call themselves a legal professional. Maybe they say I have a law firm. Oops. And I want to make sure that I've got that in there. So that's, sorry about that. So that's for the or. Now, the and the or. Now, I'm not interested in looking at job seekers or job plus seeker, because sometimes people call themselves job seekers. I'm not interested in this case speaking with consultants, and I'm not looking for someone who's looking for a business opportunity or a job opportunity. So that's my Boolean string, and then what I do is pop that into the keyword section, and then anything that looks like a title, I pop in the title section, and you want current titles. Otherwise, you'll get people who used to be CEOs, but now they're doing something else. So the whole string goes into the keyword section, and just what looks like a title goes into the title section. I don't use the nots in a title section. Of course, if I know their first name and last name, great, but I don't. That's why I'm using this search. I can also search by postal code. I absolutely love this. And by the way, here's another tip or hint. Anytime you go to a trade show, a conference, anywhere out of town, go ahead and see who you know in that particular area so that you can go grab them for coffee, get that face-to-face meeting. So that's kind of handy. The other thing is if you're prospecting in a company and you want to see who your top prospects are in that company, you can use a combination of company and title or company and keywords. And here's another tip. If you are wanting to get some inside information, why don't you see if you can connect with someone who used to work at a company that you're interested in? Because, they might be embittered or they might have loved it, but nonetheless, they may feel a little freer to talk about the company with you, who you should be talking to, who holds the real power. And so any version of this advanced search is incredibly powerful. Once you get your results and they look good, so once the results pop up and you're like, yeah, that actually would, that person's a good lead, that's a good prospect, that's a good prospect, that's a good prospect, go back in and save that search. Because once you save the search, LinkedIn is going to actually send you leads every week. So your original saved search, you're going to click on the saved search over here. Your original saved search would have the 10,482 people in it, a little bit big. I'd probably want to nail that down by industry or by area. But once you've got that search, anytime someone falls into that search algorithm, either they change their LinkedIn profile or they're new to LinkedIn, LinkedIn is actually going to send you an email once a week letting you know who's new in that particular search algorithm. So you don't have to keep going into LinkedIn and searching over and over and over again. You get 3 saved searches with your free account, you get 5 with the basic premium account, and then it just goes up from there. But this is incredibly powerful. I was talking to Jill Conrath, who wrote Snap Selling, and she actually has an amazing new study out on LinkedIn and sales. Carl, maybe we can share that with those folks too later. But
yeah, I've actually done a few sessions with Jill. We go way back.
Yeah, Jill's awesome, and yeah, so we'll get you her contact info in her latest poll, which is in her latest her latest study, which is amazing. But she and I were talking, and this is her magic trick. This is one of the things that she shares, as do I, with my clients. And it's like a light goes on when people get how powerful this is. So we're sharing it with you today. Again, it's nothing that's new. This stuff has been around with LinkedIn forever, but it's such a small little link on the top right-hand side, and most people don't ever click on it, so they don't know the power behind all these little teeny tiny features that LinkedIn seems to like to hide from us. But that's why I'm here to bring those to light for you. All right, let's take a look at how to find, get introduced, and engage with prospects. Well, we've already talked about how to find your prospects using the advanced search, but actually there's another way, and this is one of the newer features of the new user interface. This has only been around for a few months. And that's the ability to search your connections. Not only that, but another new feature on LinkedIn is the in common feature. And that simply shows you what you have in common with the prospect or with the LinkedIn member that you're looking at. And that's kind of cool. So first of all, let's look at the connection search. Any of your first level connections. It also works with second level connections, but that's all they're going to show you is the people you have in common, and they're already first level connections, so it's not such a big deal. But if you have a first level connection and you want to find second and third level connections in your connections network that they can introduce you to, what you want to do is find a connection that you know, like, and trust. Find someone who you know uses LinkedIn, who you know has a strategic network, has a smaller network, that they really know everybody that they're connected to, unlike me, who has a really, really big network, and I know maybe 10% of my network. I am always happy to introduce you to people, but I probably don't know them. So you go to a connection you know, like, and trust, who has a network that you think is probably a strategic network. It's probably under 500 people. And then you go to their connections, and on the right-hand side, there's a little magnifying glass. Once you click on that magnifying glass, the search string or the search box opens up. And by the way, you can put a Boolean string in this search box as well. But make it really, really basic. It gets a little confused after 2 or 3 different algorithms that you pop in there. So basic, simple Boolean string. And LinkedIn will show you who in your connections network fits that search. And why I like this is now, before I spend one of my introductions, because I only get 5 introductions at a time with a free account, 15 with a paid account, but instead of just wasting my introductions with someone who may or may not pass it along for me, I can go to my friend, say, hey, I really would love you to introduce me to Grandma Mary, who's Andrea Vall, who wrote LinkedIn Marketing All-in-One for Dummies, along with Amy Porterfield and Phyllis Carr. And I'm sure, Carl, you have Amy in this series, actually. I mean, you have Andrea in this series. But anyway, Andrea's Grandma Mary. So I'm going to ask Andrea to introduce me to Grandma Mary, and I'm going to ask her ahead of time, would you be willing to introduce me to her? Always give people an out, by the way, when you're doing introductions or asking for an introduction. If you're too busy or if you feel uncomfortable, doing this for any reason, please just let me know so I can withdraw the request. Otherwise, you ask someone to introduce you to somebody and that request is sitting there, and it could be 1 month, it could be 2 months, it could be 1 year, but as long as it's sitting there and unpassed along, you don't have access to it. So now I only have 4 introductions, and then I ask for someone else for an introduction, and they don't pass along. Now I only have 3. So if you tell people, please it's okay if you feel uncomfortable doing this, or for whatever reason you don't want to, just please let me know. So if you write that in your introduction, you have a much better chance of people either forwarding the introduction for you, or at least letting you know and letting you withdraw that introduction. So love the connection search, because I have a much, much better chance of my connections going through, because these are the people I know, like, and trust, and the people they know, like, and trust. And as my friend Bob says, Bob Berg, all things being equal, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. All right, so I mentioned Another reason why, another new feature that I really like on LinkedIn is this new In Common feature. So what's cool about that is I find someone I want to connect with, and I can go to their profile, and about midway down on the right-hand side of their profile, this is Mitch over here, I can see what interests we share, I can see the skills and expertise that we share, and I can see the groups that we share. So now I have a much better chance when I ask, in this case, Rick, so I'm going to ask Rick to introduce me to Mitch, and I can say, hey, you know, I really would love to know Mitch a little bit better, read his book, we're both in social media, we both have an interest in diving, and I would just love to be connected with him. Again, this warms up your communications, and it really helps with the introduction. I didn't used to ever use my introductions, but with those two new features, suddenly it's a useful tool again. So that In Common and the connection search really might make that introduction much more powerful. Okay, so you found the perfect prospect. You don't really know anyone who knows that prospect, so you can't really use the introduction. Either you have a free account and you're not allowed to invite them to connect, or you're just not comfortable with the idea of inviting someone to connect, so you're not going to use the connection feature. You could pay for an in-mail, or if you have a basic paid account, you get 3 in-mails a month, but maybe, you know, you've used them all up, or you just don't have 10 bucks that day, whatever. But there's someone you really want to talk to. So how do you send them a message without them being in your network, without them being a first-level connection? Well, there's a LinkedIn hack to get around paying for in-mails, and I'm going to share it with you. So the first thing you want to do is you want to do a search and find your prospects. So you do either the advanced search, or you do the connections search. You find your prospect. Now, the second thing you're going to want to do is look at their groups. And hopefully you share a group with that person. If you don't, you can still join a group that they're a member of. So you're going to do one or the other. You're either going to join a group that they're a member of, or if you already share a group, you're just going to click on that group. So you're just going to click on that group, and hopefully they have the members tab. Not all groups do. But if the group that you both share, or the group that you join, has that members tab, you're going to click on that tab, and then you're going to type their name or as much information as LinkedIn will give you. Again, with some of the newer free accounts, you're only going to get a first name, a last initial, but maybe you do the first name and it says what industry they're in, or first name and it says what company they work at, or something. LinkedIn's going to give you something. So take the first name and whatever keywords or search terms LinkedIn gives you, pop it in that search box, and then click on the search button. And then once you do that, the screen didn't come up. And then once you do that, what happens is LinkedIn will show you your search results, and on the right-hand side, when you scroll over the right-hand side, you will have the ability to either invite them to connect, which you can do, or send them a message. And that's the key right there, sending them a message. So from their profile page, if I were to just click on their profile page, I don't have this option. But from the group, from this search members area, I can now send that individual a message. Here's another little LinkedIn hack. If you do have a free account, so you're not getting the first name and the last name, you're just getting a first name and a last initial, click on the link that says See Activity. And when you click on that link that says See Activity, it's going to take you to a new screen. It's going to show you their first name and their last name, and then from that screen you can click on See Profile, and it's going to show you their entire profile. So if you've got a free account and LinkedIn, will only show you that snapshot area, go find a group that they're a member of, join that group, or just get into the group, and then look for them using the members and the members search tab, and then click on See Activity and View Profile, and now you're going to get access to their whole profile. So it's a little bit of a loophole. Don't know when LinkedIn's going to close it up, but right now it works, and that's one of the ways that you can get away from having to pay LinkedIn 10 bucks for a message. Okay, So now you know how to find people, now you know the various ways that you can communicate with people. Once you've developed a network, how do you stay top of mind with them? Well, first way is sharing updates, and the easiest way to share updates is through a tool called the Sharing Bookmarklet. The second way is to use LinkedIn Signal to monitor what people are saying and then respond to them through LinkedIn Signal. With the new user interface, the one that's just been released, not the one you have right now that was just released, but the one that was just released, they got rid of Signal, which I'm very, very upset about. However, even if you have the newest LinkedIn user interface, you can still get to Signal by going to linkedin.com/signal. So linkedin.com/signal. All right, let's back up a little bit and take a look at that sharing bookmarklet. So no matter what page you're on LinkedIn, new user interface, old user interface, doesn't matter. Every single page at the bottom, very, very, very bottom, there's a kind of a sitemap. And you want to click on the link that says Tools. So just scroll down to the bottom of any page on LinkedIn and click on the link that says Tools, and some cool LinkedIn tools will show up. The last tab is the Sharing Bookmarklet. You want to click on that tab and then pull that Sharing Bookmarklet up into your browser bar. Up into your browser bar. And the reason you want to do that is, and when you pull it up, it'll literally just say Share on LinkedIn. The reason you want to do that is not every blog, not every website, including your sales page, might have a Share on LinkedIn button on it. So if you find a page, or if you have your own website or blog post or sales page that you want to share, instead of copying the headline, going into LinkedIn, going to your home page, clicking on the updates, writing about it, typing it in, hitting it, send to Twitter, and then maybe going to all your groups and each one going into each group and then posting it in the group, and then, oh yeah, and then John Smith should know about this, so I'm going to go into my connections and I'm going to find that connection. Oh my gosh, LinkedIn won't load because it's being a pain in the butt today, and where's John Smith? That would take like 10-15 minutes, and you'd never, ever, ever do it. But if you've got this little Share on LinkedIn link that you just pull into your browser, it's a little button that you literally pull into your browser, unless you have Internet Explorer, and then you have to jump through 18,000 hoops, so don't use Internet Explorer. But if you've got Safari, if you've got Chrome, if you've got Mozilla, or probably any of the other ones, all you do is pull that button up into your browser bar. Then when you land on a page you want to share, like your sales page, you click on that Share on LinkedIn button, and this new screen pops up, and it allows you to post that link as an update, share it to Twitter, post it to any or all of your groups. Be careful of this. You don't want to get booted out of your group for being too spammy. So useful information with questions as opposed to read this new article of mine because I want to sell you stuff. Don't do that. Or you can then send that link to an individual. This is really, really handy. So let's just say you've got someone to connect with you. Now you want to romance them a little bit. Once or twice a month, not daily, not even weekly, but once or twice a month, you might want to send that individual a helpful article. It might be your own, it might be somebody else's, it doesn't matter. The intent on LinkedIn is never to sell through LinkedIn. It's to garner that feeling of trust. It's to garner that feeling of trust so that when you do call them and say, hey, did you know about this product, this service, this book, this webinar, people are like, oh, that's so cool, I want to join, as opposed to, stop bugging me, you're a big spammer. So you really want to engender that feeling of knowing, liking, and trusting. One of the ways to do that, as we all know, because I think all of us use social media, is to share helpful and useful information. That does not mean your sales page necessarily. 80-20 rule. 80% useful, helpful, sharing, great links, content. 20%, yeah, you can sell your stuff. But keep it at pretty much that percentage, otherwise you'll piss people off. Okay, monitoring on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is such a closed network that most of the awesome monitoring tools out there, like Radian6 and Omniture and some of those other cool tools, don't really work with LinkedIn because it's closed, so they can't get in there to see what people are saying. But you can. You can get in there by clicking on Signal, which right now is found under News. Again, if you've got the newest user interface, it doesn't look like this. It's a little bit more compressed with the search box in the middle. Then you have to go to linkedin.com/signal. Just bookmark it. But when you go to Signal, it's going to allow you to type in your name, your username, your at John Smith, your at BrandChats, your product, your service, your website, your clients, your customers, your competition, and you can type whatever that is in this little search box, and then LinkedIn will do a search on that particular product, service, company name, etc. And again, this is something that I use Google Alerts all the time. I get fed them every day, and Twilerts and a bunch of different alerting services. I never get anything from LinkedIn. So I will go in there and I popped the name of my book in there, and I'll click on that link. You can save up to 5 links, but you can do as many searches as you want. And then anyone who's mentioned my book, I just say, thanks, like, comment, thanks for reading, thanks for mentioning my book. Or if someone complains about me, please let me know what I can do to help to make this better. Or if someone's complaining about my competition, yeah, I totally get that. Hey, have you tried this helpful book? So it's a great way of monitoring, and one of the only ways to monitor what's being said in updates and in open news discussions on LinkedIn. So definitely worth playing around with if you haven't yet. Every time I go in there, and I should do this daily, and I don't, but every time I go in there, I see 5 or 6 mentions that I have to follow up with, which is great for that know, like, and trust thing. It's about staying top of mind. It's about engendering relationships. It's about engaging. And this is just one quick and easy way to do that. All right. So again, with Signal, you want to look at yourself, your company, your products or your services, your clients or your competition. The old profile, you just click on News, and Signal, the new profile, www.linkedin.com/signal. And that will take you to that new search box, or not new, but they'll take you to the search box. Save up to 5 searches. Do this every day, or at least every other day. All right, so that is pretty much it for your personal profile. I do want to talk about company pages. So a company page is not a personal profile that just has your company name instead of your name. That is a big no-no on LinkedIn. If LinkedIn finds out, they'll make you shut down that profile. Not that it's happened to me. Actually, that hasn't happened. I've broken just about every other rule, but I haven't done that one. So anyway, when you go to companies in the older profile, so when you click on company, or if you go to network and companies, you want to click on that company link. So old user interface, it just says company, click on company. New user interface, it's under network, click on company. That's going to take you to a page that allows you to add a company. So if you haven't yet created a company profile for yourself on LinkedIn, you need to. And once you do that, all you need, by the way, in order to create a company profile on LinkedIn is your name at yourdomainname.com. So you can't use a Gmail, a Hotmail, or AOL, or Earthlink. You can't use any of somebody else's email services. It has to be your name or whatever you want at yourcompanynamedomain.com. So once you've done that, you can put in your company name. Now this is a little bit like Facebook. If you put in your name wrong, tough bunnies, you're stuck with it. So make sure you get the spelling right. If you want an LLC at the end of it, if you want a corp at the end of it, excuse me, whatever you want for your name, just make sure you get it right the first time. Once you've done that, it's going to ask you to upload a little banner, kind of like, actually your Facebook banner will work, so you could just upload that. It's 646 by 220. It'll ask you to upload a company description, that's 1,500 characters. It'll ask you if you want to upload products and services. Yes, you do. So you're going to go ahead and, just from your website, go ahead and copy and paste, and it literally is copy, put it into Word, check it in Word, paste it into LinkedIn. copy it from your website, put it into Word, check it in Word, paste it in LinkedIn. It's a little bit time consuming, but you're going to want to add all your products and services. If you're an awesome marketing and branding company like my folks at MLT Creative, you know, you can create really, really pretty logos for each and every one of your products and services. I'm not so clever myself, and so I just pull them from my website. Once you've done that, however, there's a third step, and this is where LinkedIn, this is not at all obvious. So add all your products and services first, but once you have done that, what you're going to want to do is click on, you're going to go to your products and services page. So the link will pop up, products and services, go to that page, and then on the top right-hand side, click on edit. Don't do the drop-down menu, and LinkedIn's going to kind of train you to do that drop-down menu. Don't do that. Just click on edit. Once you do that, this new page will show up, and this allows you to target your products and services to specific niche markets. This is, by the way, free. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to create your default page. So if someone falls outside of the industry or the company size or the location that you are later going to define, they will still land on your default page. So you're going to create a default page, which is a little bit more general, describing your products and services. You can upload video. You can add banner ads that link back to your sales pages if you want. This looks much more like a traditional website, in fact. Once you have created that first default page, you are going to then be able to copy that default page. Once you've copied that default page, a new tab shows up. This is where you go into settings, and you can choose an audience, like I said, by industry, by company size, by company, by someone's title, by location. So, you know, if you are targeting a market in France, then you can have a completely different products and services landing page, as it were, in French, in Spanish. You can speak to people who come from Oracle, or who come from the financial industry or the automotive industry. So you can create up to 25, or maybe it's 20, I can't remember. Anyway, 20 or 25, a lot of unique landing pages for each and every industry, location, or company size that you want. Very, very, very powerful. And as I mentioned, you can add banner ads with links to your landing page. You customize it. You can customize your title field specifically. You know, as an Oracle employee or ex-employee, have you ever found this frustrating? No problem. We've got the services for you. You can dial it down that much. And as we all know, the more specific, the more niche a landing page is to its audience, the more likely someone is going to click on that buy button, because they're talking to you, right? Add video, add customer testimonials. So much that you can do with the new company page, with the products and services page especially. Take the time, invest your time, add that content, and then go nuts. And then what happens is when someone lands on your company page from the automotive industry and they go to your products and services, they get a message targeted specifically, video targeted specifically, banner ads targeted specifically for them. So very, very, very powerful tool. And that, my friends, is the end of my presentation, and it does look like we have, in fact, several minutes to take questions. So
I do. I'm actually going to have you answer them, but I'm receiving them, so I'll field them over and ask them as if I were the person asking. But real quick, I want to share something with you. And just to let everyone know, I meant it when I said that we were doing these sessions truly as educational. So much so that the presenters don't know a whole lot about our solution. BrandChats actually is a competitor of Omniture Radiant 6. We do social media monitoring. Oh, and just a little footnote,
use BrandChats.
One little footnote is we actually monitor signal.
Nice.
So you
That's
can
awesome.
do,
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, you can do your signal configuration. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Anyone that's curious about it, we can talk later. But basically, we do monitor signal. I have a few questions already, but now's the time. If you have a question, if something wasn't clear, please feel free to ask. I'm going to go through these in order, and we'll get through as many as we can until Viveka says she has to go. Not a problem. Okay, well, let me jump in here. So real quick, our first question was, what would be a good link for that custom URL I believe they're talking about? So when you're making your own URL, for someone or for a bank or someone at a bank to use?
Yeah, good point. So you want your name in there. I would normally have my name, except for I'm just so lucky to get LinkedIn Expert. I'm never changing it. But yeah, so for that, I would probably put your first name and the last name banker, or first name, last name banking professional, because Twitter or LinkedIn will actually pick up on that. So, Google will actually pick up on that. So it would probably be something like first name, last name banking professional. I probably wouldn't put, unless you own the bank, I wouldn't put the bank name in there. You might piss off the president of the bank, and you don't want to do that. But you certainly could do banking professional, loan expert, anything
Gotcha.
like that.
Okay, great. That might answer another question I have here later. But the second question I have is an interesting one. It doesn't matter what order or how you enter terms so that you show it at the top of searches. For example, mine is Director, VP, Quality Engineering. Because I'm interested in either a Director or VP in Quality Engineering opportunity.
Cool. It doesn't really matter what order you put it in. Obviously, put the most important thing first. But what I will tell you, and this webinar was a little bit more advanced. I've got a basic webinar that talks about optimizing your profile. So what you want to do is get your top 1 or 2 keywords in your professional headline section. That's a section underneath your name. Make sure to get your keywords into your summary section. LinkedIn now does, it didn't used to, now read your summary. Certainly you can add them kind of at the bottom like I have here in a certain specialty section. The most important place to get those keywords is in your title field. Your current title field first, and then your past titles second, or your past position second. But if you can get the keywords that you want in those title fields, that apparently is weighted most heavily by LinkedIn in the search. Again, the description sections are now readable by LinkedIn, so get your keywords in there too. Probably pretty naturally in describing what you do for a company or what you did for a company, you'll get those keywords in there just by, just because it's part of what you do. The other place, which is the only place I really recommend what we call keyword stuffing, and you've seen those profiles, they're nuts. The only place I really recommend keyword stuffing is your interest section. And that's found at the very, very bottom of your profile under additional information. As you can see, mine is just a keyword, comma, space, keyword, comma, space, keyword, comma, space, keyword, comma, space. That's all that's in there. By the way, here's another ninja trick. If you want to show up when someone's searching on your competition or on a, on a friend of yours, if you put your name in this, or if you put their name in your interest section, your profile will show up when someone does a search on them. Not only that, but you might show up first, as we saw earlier with Mike and Mari. So I think they're just supporting each other.
A funny footnote
going on there, but
a funny footnote. I just reached out to Mike via LinkedIn yesterday.
Oh, you're kidding. Well, if you need an intro, let me know.
Yeah, I think I got one, but I definitely will.
Okay.
All right. So next question. Again, remember we have a lot of people in banking in this call. So what would be a good way a bank can promote its lenders on LinkedIn? How would they get set up?
For a bank, I would go to that company profile. So again, just clicking on companies on the older user interface, such as the one I have here, or under, what's the companies now, is under careers, the new one. And you will set up a company. I can't pull my screen over. On the right-hand side, right there, it says add a company. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a little link that says add a company. If they have already added their bank as a company, what they would then do is, go into my company here. What they would then probably do is add their vendors as services. So they could go in and actually add their vendors as services.
Well, we're not talking about vendors. We're talking about the actual
lenders,
the mortgage people, the people working at the bank, right?
Oh, okay. So one of the things that they can do, and this is very, very limited, but I didn't actually bring it up, and this is pretty cool. One of the things that they can do, and I can't get over there.
Would you like me to go to my LinkedIn and we can do it from my page?
Here, I just minimized my screen so that you can barely see anything. Okay, so what they can do is, let's say they've got a product or a service that they want to promote a specific lender in. They add that product or service to their company profile, and then as soon as there we go. And then what they can actually do when you edit that product or that service, you have the opportunity of highlighting a whopping, but at least 3 employees. So they could highlight 3 different lenders for each particular product or service. So loans gets this, company loans get this, commercial loans gets this, home loans gets gets these 3 people. What's cool about this is, and my profile's too big and this doesn't work anymore for me. Another reason not to have more than 5,000 connections on LinkedIn. But as you start to type in someone's name, an employee's name or a lender's name in this section, it'll pull up their name and their picture. But what's cool is, anyone who comes to this page and comes to this service doesn't have to be connected to that lender in order to send them a message. It kind of bypasses that whole, have to be first. Much better for helping or for aiding your lenders or your employees to be able to communicate more easily with potential clients and prospects, if that makes sense.
It does. It does.
So it's much.
Hello?
Cool.
Okay.
Hello?
So,
I'm still here. Are you still there?
Yeah, I went out for a second. I'm not sure what happened. So anyways, I have another question for you here, and I can answer it, but I'm going to let you answer it because it's your show. Is adding a company a free service? I am starting to market myself as a coach consultant in my field and would like to use that tool.
Yeah, absolutely. It's free. You just have to have a name at companyname.com. So when you go into a company, all you do is you come over here, and again, apologizing for the size of my screen, you'll click on Add a Company, and it's going to ask you for your company name. Just don't spell this incorrectly, and then you will need an email at companyname.com. The only restriction is you can't have just use a Gmail, Hotmail, AOL, or Earthlink or somebody else's service. But yeah, once you've done that, you can add as many company names as you have domain names. I've got 3 companies on LinkedIn, I think. I only use 1.
The question is, how do you add banners again? As an example?
Sure. So once you've added your company, yeah, it's not obvious for sure. Once you've added your company, the original banner ad, or the banner ad for your home page, as it were, or the overview page. Now they're calling it home page now. The banner for your home page is going to show up right on that front page. So it's 646 by 222. So you'll just add that right, kind of right on that first page. On your products and services pages, again, first you have to add products and services. It's weird, and that's where the hiccup is on LinkedIn and why people don't know about this. Once you add your products and services, though, then you go into edit, and that's when you can add, that's when you can add your banner ad. So I've got a couple of different banner ads here, and the links that those banner ads go to, and then you can actually reorder whatever, or just, you might not want to share all your products. There might only be 4 or 3, or in this case 3 relevant products. So then you can add those products and services too, and of course you can speak directly to your audience as well. So that's where you do that. You have to. So you go to your home page, you add your banner ad to your home page, and like I said, you can use your Facebook banner ad if you want. The difference being you can put calls to action and contact info on your banner ad. Then you're going to come on over here and add your products and services in the drop-down. but that's the last time you'll use this drop-down, unless you have more products and services to add. Once you have added your products and services, hit save, go out, leave your page, and then come back into your page. And after you're back in your page, go to your products and services tab. This only works if you've already got products and services listed. Then click on edit, not the drop-down. Click on edit. That takes you to the place where you can now customize for your different audiences. And this will actually let you even preview. And then you can add your banner ads there, and then you can add your specific links. See, are your clients, so this is for my marketing people, are your clients asking for LinkedIn help and you can't offer it? Great. Here I am, and I'm speaking to you, and that looks a lot different than my default page. So that's where you can add those specific banner ads with links to your sales page or whatever.
All right, great, thank you. Now let's see if this works and everyone can see my side. So everyone, just to follow up, this conversation can continue. The highlight of all the tips, thanks to our amazing social media guru, Dan Vernon. We have everything out on Twitter. Just put in the hashtags #Bchats and feel free to continue asking us questions, or if you get stuck, we'll be there to help. Viveka, thank you so much. This has been a fantastic session. You've got a bunch of great jobs and thank yous coming in from the questions. But again, thank you. It was a pleasure. I'm glad we finally got to work together. It's long overdue. And I look forward to working with you again.
Me too. Thank you so much, Carl.
Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely day.